Hey there, and welcome back to the Path to Better A1C podcast. I am your host, Jenny Pena, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, founder of Genvi Coaching, and I help busy professionals balance blood sugar, conquer those cravings, and reclaim their energy without giving up everything that they love. Now, today we're diving into something that affects just about everyone that I have worked with, even everyone that I have not worked with. So, pretty much everybody. And that is hidden sugars. Now, those sneaky sugars that show up in healthy foods like granola and yogurt, protein bars, and salad dressings. Yes, those. Even when you think you're making that amazing choice, that you're like, wow, this is just the best choice that I can. I'm incorporating very healthy items. This is great. Well, we are going to talk about how added sugars hide in everyday meals, how they kind of mess up with your energy and your cravings, and what actually happens in your body when you have a daily sweetened coffee or soda. Now, I'll break down the difference between glucose, fructose, and sucrose. I know, a lot of O's. And help you make sense of what really matters when it comes to labels and energy crashes. And if you're following along with our summer book clubs, we are reading The Year of No Sugar by Eve Schaub. Now, this week's chapters have been all about uncovering the places sugar hides. And today's episode, it's almost like a coaching companion to that. So by the end of this, you'll walk away with practical tips, a clearer understanding of what sugar really does in your body beyond just the sugar spike. Also, before we dive in, I want to remind you that I've got a free workshop coming up on Monday, July 21st at 8 a.m. Eastern, and it's called the Three-Step Blueprint for Balanced Blood Sugar. So if today's topic hits home, you're going to love what I'm sharing in that session. So I'll tell you more at the end. And as always, I will put all the links and all the information in the description. Now, let's get to it. Hidden but not harmful, right? If you don't see, does that really mean that it's not there? Let's talk about sugar in disguise. And let me tell you a quick story about one of my clients. For privacy, I am going to call her Melissa. That is not her real name. And and I will share the story. She was doing what many people do. She got diagnosed with prediabetes. She started making changes. And I remember she was super excited. She says, well, like I'm having some Greek yogurt in the morning and I'm having a granola bar in the middle of the morning. And sometimes it's so busy at work, I just have a smoothie for lunch. It sounds pretty balanced, right? Like, wow, okay, like, yogurt, protein. You have your granola bar, like, oh, there are whole grains in there. And the smoothie is pretty natural, right? Like, you're not eating processed foods, are you? Not many. So, at the nutshell, you look at it and you're like, this is amazing. She's doing great. Well, every afternoon, she would crash. She had brain fogs. She had these intense cravings. She couldn't focus. She was quite moody. A second coffee felt like that was the only way that she could actually make it for dinner. Again, chasing that blood sugar roller coaster that I talk almost at every episode. Now, we took a closer look and we realized that she was getting more than 50 grams of added sugar per day just from the foods that she thought were healthy options. And a lot of it has to do with all these items that have these buzzwords like natural, is protein packed, whole grains. And when you look at the fiber content, it's tiny. So you see what I'm saying when it comes to these buzzwords? Now, she's not alone. Average American eats about 17 teaspoons of added sugar a day, mostly from foods and drinks that don't look like dessert. That's the worst part. You don't even think you're eating something sweet, and yet that sugar is there. And why? That's because sugar hides behind, there's over 60 names that are listed in your foods, especially processed foods, for sugar. Foods and drinks that don't look like dessert. So everything from cane juice to brown rice syrup to maltodextrin, fruit concentrate, that don't sound like, oh, this is perfectly fine. Well, if you've ever felt like you were doing everything right, but you're still struggling with the energy, with the cravings, with the stubborn weight, it might not be just about eating less. It might be about looking a bit closer. So, fast forward, we were able to look at her foods, compromise, and see things that they could swap. And we started switching things, and she started seeing a difference. But you see, the biggest takeaway from this was her being aware. I didn't have to tell her exactly what to swap, but now she was aware that there were lots of things that had that sugar hidden. And now she became that detective. She was looking at labels all the time and finding ways to swap without having necessarily to sacrifice flavor. So that is the success story. And I would love for you to try to do the same. Now, there is another thing that we will talk about, Sugar 101. Let's talk about this sugar situation. Let's break it down real quick. No science degree needed, nothing like that. Um, and obviously, I'm not a PhD. So a lot of people hear about glucose, fructose, sucrose. Pretty much everything that ends in O's is a type of sugar. Now, glucose is your body's go to energy source. Your brain, your muscles, your cells, they love it. But it does raise your blood sugar quickly. That's what actually raises blood sugar and causes your pancreas to start producing insulin to bring it down. Now, fructose, think about fruit. It comes and is found in fruits. However, when it's added to food as high fructose corn syrup, it becomes a problem. And what is the problem? Right? Because you will think, well, sugar is sugar. What is the problem? Problem is that it does not raise your blood sugar the same way that glucose would. So it's processed in the liver. And have you heard about fatty liver, insulin resistance, visceral fat? That's exactly what happens. When you have this fructose in very high doses, again, it's not going to raise your blood sugar, but then your liver is working. Now it can lead to actually fatty liver. Your body is developing that insulin resistance. Now you have more fat around the belly, which is that visceral fat. Now you're like, why am I gaining weight and why am I looking this particular shape? And then it doesn't trigger the hormones that tell your brain that you're full. That means that you can eat a lot of it. And there's no signaling to your brain to say stop. You're seeing all the scenarios here. Now, sucrose is just a regular table sugar. Now, the regular table sugar is 50-50. It's a mix of glucose and fructose. Now, if you want to take a deeper dive into this, I highly recommend watching a lecture on YouTube by Dr. Robert Lustig. It's called Sugar, the Bitter Truth. And that explains exactly why fructose is driving so many of today's metabolic issues. A lot of different things. and I will link it in the show notes. I was in shock. Mind you, this video is over 20, probably over 25 years ago. And how, like, it was breaking down so many different things, it was mind blowing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about something that he touched on. And mind you, the video is over an hour. It's worth every minute of your time. Just grab some time in the evening, grab a drink, and just watch it. It's free, it's on YouTube. Just watch it. Humor me and just watch it. Now, let's talk about soda. Let's talk about Coke, which I have nothing against any of the brands at this point. Um, I'm just referring exactly what Dr. Lustig mentioned in that video. He mentioned that back in the 1950s, a bottle of Coke was 6.5 ounces, right? And it was a bit under 20 grams, probably around 18 grams of sugar. Mind you, the guideline right now is that as a woman, you should not exceed 25 grams of sugar a day. And for men, it's between 35 to 37 grams of sugar a day. So this bottle of 6.5 ounces had almost 20 grams already. So you're pretty much there. Now, today, you know how all these sizes are growing, right? Today, the standard bottle of 20 ounces is about 65 grams of sugar. That's about 16 teaspoons of sugar in just one drink. I want you to think about that. Picture yourself getting 16 teaspoons of sugar and putting it somewhere. Just, have that picture in your head. So imagine what happens when you drink just one, right? Some of my clients will come and say, "Well, I just drink one." And then when I mention, "Have you looked at how much sugar does it have? How many servings are you actually getting?" Again, eye-opening. So what happens if you drink one a day? Well, I'll tell you that your insulin is going to stay elevated all day long. Your liver is going to start converting that extra fructose into fat. You're going to end up developing insulin resistance. And you're going to see your triglycerides rise. That's why a lot of people that have pre-diabetes or diabetes, they also have to watch their cholesterols and their levels. It's all interconnected, and it has to do with a lot with this fructose situation. And guess what? You are going to crave more sugar the next day. It's a cycle. So one study shows that drinking just one sugary beverage per day increases your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by about 26%. And if that drink is part of a larger pattern of processed sweetened foods, you're going to start to see the domino effect. I'm not doing this to scare you. I want to empower you. If you have been following me, you know I keep saying this. Small changes do add up. And once you see how sugar is working behind the scenes, how you can make smarter, simpler decisions, things that will give you real results, you're going to start shifting these patterns. You're going to see that, okay, is this really worth it? Can I swap this? Here's some easy, no drama swaps that you can try. If you love yogurt, I actually encourage my clients, have yogurt. It's a great source of protein, right? But switch to plain yogurt, preferably Greek yogurt. and add the fruit yourself. If you get something that already has fruit, unless it's clearly saying, and mind you, that may have artificial sweeteners, that's a different show, a different episode, but it is best to get it plain and add your own fruit. You're having full control of how much sugar you're eating in there. Granola bars. Granola bars are something. Look for the ones that are under 5 grams of sugar, or even make it your own. If you get your own oats, your nut butter, you get your seeds, you can actually do some really good tasting granola bars, and you know exactly what you put in there. Now, with smoothies, try to use water or unsweetened almond milk like if you really want to, instead of juice. And I would even say, don't just have a smoothie, but make sure that it replicates that balanced plate. So make sure you add some protein powder that is clean, because protein powders can also have a lot of other things added to them. Make sure you have a good source of healthy fat, some fiber, and add some sort of vegetable, leafy greens, spinach, kale. I even like to add a frozen cauliflower rice, and that's a way of adding some vegetables in the mix. And then add a little bit of fruit, and you're going to have a full, balanced meal in that smoothie that now you have turned into a protein shake that is not going to spike your blood sugar if you do it the right way. And then lastly, salad dressings. Make your own. Grab one of these bottles, put some olive oil, some lemon, a splash of mustard, a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and it's going to be just as delicious. I make my own mayo, and I have incorporated a lot of different sauces. So explore. Look at those things that you typically add and see how all of these elements can add that sugar. And for label reading, because I know that I mentioned to check your labels and all that, just look at the line that says added sugars in the nutritional label and also scan for the ingredients. Okay, there are two parts. There's the ingredient list and there's the nutritional box. So added sugar in the nutritional label and ingredients, and look for those that end in O's, OSE, like dextrose, maltose, sucrose. They don't say sugar. So at the first glance, you may look at it, and if you're not aware, you'll be like, oh, there's some sort of preservative, something to keep the food safe. And little did you know that it's just another form of sugar. Now, this is not about being perfect. I don't want you to feel condemned. I don't want you to feel, oh my God, like, oh, I'm a failure when you start looking at your pantry items, because it was eye opening for me too. I just want you to become aware, because once you understand how these ingredients affect your blood sugar and your energy, you're going to start making better choices, and you're going to start periodically, and you're not going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to be fine. Now, here's the bottom line. Sugar isn't just about taste, right? It's about how your body functions. It's about your cravings, your focus, your sleep, your hormones. Like, sugar plays a role in all of it. And once you learn how to spot the hidden sources and understand what's happening behind the scenes, you get to take all your power back. So, if today's episode hit home, I have a special invitation for you. I would love for you to join me live on Monday, July 21st, 8 a.m. Eastern, for a free workshop called the 3-Step Blueprint for Balanced Blood Sugar. And over there, you're going to discover how to eat in a way that keeps energy steady all day, what to change first if you're tired, if you're craving sugar, if you feel stuck, and how to actually make it stick without going on a detox. It's free, it's fun, it's packed with practical tools that you can use right away. You can register at subscribepage.io/blood sugar, and I will definitely put the link in the show notes. And hey, if you love this episode, take a second to leave a review or share with a friend who's ready to feel better too. Every download and share will help get this message out for more people who need it. Ultimately, that's like my goal is to bring awareness and bring hope to people that sometimes hear the word prediabetes or diabetes and they think that is a death sentence and there's nothing that they can do about it. And I'm here to tell you that there is. Thank you so much for spending part of today with me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.